Teaching a language is an art that has become somewhat of a science, and as any other science, there are many methods to reach to a certain point. Communicative language teaching is one of these methods. Also known as the communicative approach, this way of teaching is often called this way because of the far-reaching nature of itself and the extensive capability of its clearly defined classroom practices. David Nunnan, doctor in linguistics and author of the world's largest selling textbook series, Go For It, relates communicative language teaching with 5 main features. The first one is an emphasis on learning to communicate through interaction in the target language. The weight given by a teacher to social interaction is by far one of the main characteristics of this method, because the usage of this method helps learners to reach any language user's ulterior motives, and that is, to communicate and to interact with the language. The second feature is the introduction of authentic sources into the learning situation. Authenticity of text used in the classroom is also an important feature because it involves students using the language in real-world situations. They learn through texts that are actually used by native speakers. The third feature is the provision of opportunities for learners to focus not only on language, but also on the learning process itself. By giving them these opportunities, students develop the ability to continue learning the language as well as the topics around it and learning how to learn. The fourth feature is an enhancement of the learner's own personal experiences as important contributing elements to classroom learning. It is always easier to produce language and feel motivated by sharing what students already know, as well as develop critical thinking skills to analyze and learn from their own experiences, successes, and mistakes. And finally, the fifth feature is an attempt to link classroom language learning with language activation outside the classroom. As mentioned before, once the student feels at ease when it comes to using language inside the classroom, the easier will it be once they leave and encounter these opportunities to communicate. Summarizing, the communicative approach uses communication opportunities that are effective, functional, and authentic through social interaction. Students and teachers interact through interpersonal activities where learners express their own values and judgments that contribute to an established practice community. Teachers act as active facilitators that design and select meaningful tasks where they talk little but listen what their students have to say and how they say it. Now, let's wrap up with a quote by the contemporary French philosopher Jean-François Lyotard, who once wrote, "Simplifying to the extreme, I define postmodernism as incredulity towards meta-narratives. Postmodernism also applies to our choice how to teach. We must not take as sacred just one way of teaching a language, because a teacher has to evolve with many different aspects. It is up to the teacher to decide which approach works best."